If you think legends are just bedtime stories, you might want to think again. Our story takes us deep into the heart of Indonesia to a small, isolated village in 2003. This was a place where traditions ran deep and the modern world felt a million miles away. Life was simple, predictable, until the day an elderly woman named Rina passed away peacefully in her sleep. She was loved by everyone, and her passing was a quiet, somber affair. Her family, heavy with grief, laid her to rest in the village cemetery. They performed the traditional rites, placing fragrant flowers gently on the freshly turned soil of her grave. As dusk settled, they left her to her eternal rest, their hearts heavy but at peace, believing their final goodbyes were said. But when the first rays of morning sun touched the village the next day, a chilling discovery was made. A family member had returned to the gravesite to offer morning prayers, only to find the scene disturbed. Carefully placed were scattered, their petals crushed into the dirt. The air felt heavy, and an unsettling silence had fallen over the usually vibrant jungle surrounding the village. The ground itself seemed to whisper secrets to the wind, secrets no one was ready to hear. Word spread like wildfire. At first, it was just hushed whispers exchanged behind cupped hands. People were confused, scared. Was it grave robbers? But nothing of value was buried with Rina. Was it wild animals? But the disturbance seemed too precise, too deliberate. The whispers soon grew louder, morphing into fearful rumors. Talk of a dark curse, a forbidden ritual, and a malevolent spirit began to haunt the villagers' every waking thought. The fear was palpable. It hung in the humid air like a thick fog. Children were kept indoors after sunset, and the normally bustling market grew quiet. Even the jungle animals, usually a constant symphony of calls and rustles, seemed to have gone silent, as if holding their breath in anticipation, wondering what darkness had been unleashed upon them. Then, a new piece of the puzzle emerged. A villager, brave enough to venture near the edge of the forest, noticed a strange. He was in his early 30s, always polite, always soft-spoken, but he kept to himself. He was a man people saw every day but didn't really know at all. He lived alone, worked alone, and rarely spoke unless spoken to. The strange odor, combined with the villagers' heightened fear, was enough to spark alarm. The village elder, accompanied by a few brave men and local authorities, decided they had to investigate. They approached Sumanto's small wooden house, their hearts pounding in their chests. When they knocked, the door opened almost immediately. There stood Sumanto, his expression eerily calm, almost welcoming. He looked at the anxious faces before him, and a faint, knowing smile touched his lips. "You're here because of the whispers," he said, his voice barely above a whisper itself. "You want to know what's happening in our village. You want to know the truth." He paused, letting the weight of his words hang in the air. He then stepped back, gesturing towards the dark interior of his home. "The truth," he said softly, "is inside." As the door creaked open, revealing the shadows within, the men braced themselves. But what they saw in that dimly lit room would not only solve the mystery of the disturbed grave, but would also shatter their understanding of the world. What they found inside. The door creaked open, and what the investigators found inside sent a chill down their spines. The truth behind the hushed whispers was finally out in the open. There, in that small, dimly lit room, the walls were covered in symbols ancient, strange, and undeniably sacred. Sumanto stood in the center of it all, not fighting, not resisting. He simply offered a calm, almost serene smile and spoke words that would haunt them forever. "They wanted me to do it. The spirits, they were hungry." He truly believed it. He was convinced that by performing these forbidden rituals, he could forge a connection with souls from beyond the veil of life. In return, he thought he would receive unimaginable power and a sense of profound peace. For months, under the cloak of darkness, he had been visiting graves. To him, his actions weren't evil. The authorities were stunned, speechless. As the news broke, the world watched in horror. Yet, during the intense interrogations that followed, Sumanto displayed no fear, no remorse, only a steady, unwavering devotion to his beliefs. It was as if he was answering to a higher, unseen power. Years passed. After his eventual release, Sumanto's story took another unexpected turn. He sought refuge in a religious school, dedicating his life to a new path. He began to preach that he had found a way to atone for his past. They saw a man reborn, a soul saved. But others weren't so sure. Whispers followed him, just as they had before. Some villagers claimed that even now, late at night, they could hear him speaking softly, as if in conversation with unseen companions. They said he still spoke to the spirits, that his old connections were never truly severed. Back in the very same village where this chilling tale began, his name is still spoken in hushed tones, a fearful legend passed from one generation to the next. People are afraid to say it too loudly, afraid to draw unwanted attention, because they know that some legends don't simply fade away and die. They wait. They linger in the shadows. And sometimes, they come back. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into one of history's most unsettling stories. If you found this fascinating, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content that explores the mysteries that lie just beneath the surface. Stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video.